Hey there, welcome back. So my last video, I kind of already touched on the topic, but for me, well-being is a very holistic thing. So it's not only about having a yoga practice, but also about other aspects in your life, because everything that you do affects how you feel. So also, for example, the clothes that you wear or what you eat, how you move around in your day, things like this. For me, there's a huge connection between well-being practice and clothing, personal style. There are a lot of iconic figures, for example, who are connected to what they wear, or their style, what they wear, is connected to their personality. So, for example, there's this famous image of Freddie Mercury doing his performance for the world tour. And he is wearing these Adidas sneakers. So now every time when I wear my Adidas sneakers, I think about Queen. So it is a feeling that I like to pick up on in my style. Same thing in a well-being practice. I want people to, for example, in a yoga class or in a workshop, find themselves more connected with who they are, what they want, what they aim for, and just being present. So same thing. If you translate that, if you want to feel connected in your yoga practice, it is also to be able to be more connected in daily life with yourself, and what you wear is a huge part of that. So shoes is a thing that for a lot of people is part of their identity, how they can express themselves, like having fun, influencing a lot just how they look like, how they move also. And so yeah, for me it's super cool if you think about all those figures, for example, those different icons that you have and the shoes that they wear. There's always specific shoes and styles that are connected with that. So this is kind of where it goes together, the well-being practice, who am I, what do I want, how do I want to feel, and then what you wear and the shoes that you wear. Again, who am I? What do I want? How do I want to feel? So it's kind of the same questions. And then you bring this, what you learn in your wellness practice, over to your daily life. And suddenly there's kind of a bigger effect of your wellness practice translating into your daily life. So after many years of doing yoga, my feet, and not only yoga, also surfing, my feet got stronger and expanded, and I realized I don't fit into my shoes anymore. So when I was 18, actually, I worked as a model in Paris, and after day 2 of wearing heels that were about this high for 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day, I pinched a nerve in the front of my foot. And now every time when I wear shoes that are not comfortable, as in that are too narrow in the front, too tight, then it just again pinches the nerve, and it's so painful that even if I wake up in the morning and roll my foot on the ground, it's just like this stabbing, burning pain. So yeah, it's really crucial for me to have shoes that are comfortable and that give my foot the space so this nerve doesn't get squished. And I know many people who actually have an issue similar to that, especially women who get older over time because of wearing narrow shoes where the large toe in front just goes in and it kind of like squishes a nerve so much that they cannot wear proper shoes anymore. Also, for example, I know from a lot of women when they have children, especially when they like have boys, that their feet just become bigger, and then the shoes don't fit anymore. Shoes can become very problematic because you walk in them all day long, and if you have a stabbing pain in your foot, you can't walk, you cannot do anything. It just ruins the whole experience, and you have to go home and take off those shoes. So yeah, there are some ideas about shoes that would be more optimal for us, which are the barefoot shoes, because there's this whole theory on being barefoot being best for us. Just a side note to what barefoot shoes are. These are shoes that are wide in the toe box. So basically they are supposed to have the shape of your foot, of a natural foot, not one that learned to be squished. They should have a sole that is very minimal, where the shoe and the sole are bendy and where you can actually feel the ground. through the shoe, and that they don't have a raised heel, so they're really flat. I do actually have one here because I tried it out, because for me, and that's also part of my courses, I want people to experience and to feel the things for them, so they can find out what feels good to them and not just believe what someone tells them, but actually feel the difference. And yes, so I bought one which looks like this. So it's wide in the toe box. So if you compare it to my foot, it's quite wide. I tried it, and I have to say, there is one thing that is theory and the idea of something that could work, and then there's reality. So if you walk with these, or my experience was, if I walk with these in the city on concrete floor, it's just really painful and uncomfortable. And the other thing is, in my mind, if I walk barefoot, I know I love to walk barefoot. I do my yoga barefoot, and that's actually how my feet got stronger and wider. Not necessarily wider, they just got back to their natural shape, I guess, instead of like being used to being squished. But going surfing, walking on the beach, or walking at home barefoot, it's this experience I love because it's a sensory experience. But it's not the same if you wear barefoot shoes, actually. It just feels like you're wearing shoes that have a thin sole and don't protect you from the concrete. So instead, I opted for just a regular kind of trendy shoe, which is the Adidas shoe. I chose the Spezial because they are wider. And it is interesting, if you compare them, they are very, very different aesthetically. And I have to say, I cannot get used to this aesthetic very much. So I opted for these ones, which are just our used to aesthetic, but they are really soft. So actually, when you have your foot inside, they move, and it feels comfortable because they move with your foot. The other thing I did is I adapted them to what I like, because I keep telling people, when they move, when they do their down dog, to move in a way that feels good and to adapt. So maybe bending the knees, doing things like this to make it comfortable. And I did the same with the shoes. So, and I just took out the sole, because the sole actually has an arch support and a raised heel. And this to me feels like I have a foreign object in my shoe that pushes my foot in a direction which doesn't feel comfy. And I just added instead I just added a very simple flat sole inside instead. And now they're just flat and comfortable. Yeah, and I like to wear them around because it makes me feel like a ninja. I can move, I can do things. Obviously, you can buy other shoes. You don't have to buy Adidas, it's just the one I had. There are other brands. There are also brands that probably are more ethical and more sustainable. I just put a lot of attention to how my foot feels inside of a shoe. So this exactly is where you have to try. So just to try the things that work for you. There are a ton of different sneaker brands. Just to pay attention to your foot being able to move, the shoe being like flexible, comfortable, movable, and not, like something that's a thing. Like there are a lot of sneakers with thick soles, with like plateau soles. Especially, I had some ones on from Converse in a shooting that had like these really thick soles, and they don't move with your foot. So basically, you just have this thing that you walk on that doesn't bend. Like you wouldn't be able to bend your foot in the shoe. So it kind of affects your walking, and it kind of takes the function away of your foot, disables it. So it's not my favorite, but you can try out your own ones. Yes, obviously, this is the topic of shoes and clothing. Can be also viewed very consumeristic. And if you think about the environment, there are choices that are better than others, and there are also ways how you can maintain your shoes that you don't even have to buy new ones, or you can alter them, or you can wash them, or you can repair them. So yeah, there are ways where you can like pay attention to the types of shoes that you buy so that these shoes are more sustainable. So for example, like the Beja shoes are supposedly from their site and from what they claim more sustainable types of shoes than others. Or for example, the barefoot shoes, they're supposed to be more sustainable. They have like a cork sole, and they say 93% of natural materials. So there are brands that really pay attention to this. You obviously always have to take a look at what they say and then do your own research, but yes, it is a factor that can also come back and be connected to what do you want in life, how do you want to feel, what do you want for the future. For your aesthetic, I think this is really part of well-being, is to find things that correspond or that like go together with how you want to look like, how you want to express yourself. But kind of a balance between actually comfort and mobility, space to move, and finding something that works for your aesthetic. So for example, one of the things I love to do is just to buy the shoe a little bit bigger, so your foot actually has more space to move. Also in clothing is always a fantastic thing, because there's just space to breathe, space to eat, space to move, and especially women, we tend to buy things always a little bit too small and a little bit too tight, because we grow up with the idea that if you wear a smaller size, it's nicer. If you have smaller feet, it looks more elegant. But if you actually wear things that are a little bit loose, it makes your body look better, because it's not pressed, not confined. It just looks more comfortable and elegant, and people can feel that your feet learn to expand and learn to be able to move more freely and are more supportive and more functional to your movement that you do every day.